through the operation here, which took an appreciable amount of time, you've got an outstanding showroom, very large.
Thank you.
Lots and lots of product. The idea being, if you can't find it in this room, you probably, it doesn't exist, it would seem. I mean,
Pretty much.
That's the impression you're trying to give.
Yes, sir.
Talk about the Lowe's and the Home Depots. They tell me that rather than build more stores like they've been doing for the last decade or so, they're spending a lot of money on the technology, on trying to get people when they go on the internet. They tell me that you put in carpet, vinyl, LVT, hardwood, whatever it is, from any location, Home Depot, Lowe's, and a number of others come up on the first page,
Right.
at the top. And that is a direct shot over the bow, it would seem to me, of the independent retailer.
That's correct.
Talk about that, and especially the millennials. They tell me in surveys, if they ask them, okay, name a floor covering retailer, they'll name the big box players and the other, the lumber liquidators, the floor and decor, etc. That's a major threat to independent retailers in general, isn't it?
Can be. Again, it's how you handle your business. I can't emphasize enough, if, again, you're going just on price and you don't set yourself apart, then you're going to have problems. And we set ourselves apart. And then you talked about the going on the internet, and that's how they basically feel like they have to reach out to them and shop. I still think most people, I know that's big. Even the millennials, I would say, yeah, they're going that way, but I would still say most people want to see, feel, and touch.
Oh, yeah, no question. But I think what they'll do is they'll do the research, as you mentioned before, and then they'll come in with the questions, and I want to see this, I want to see that, etc. And but of course, you never know the ones that don't come in the front door.
Right.
And that would be the fear if I were a retailer.
It can be a fear, but I mean, I've been in the Lowe's and Home Depot, and I've acted like a interested person. And sometimes the attention you get at a Lowe's and Home Depot is not near the attention you get when you go into a flooring store. So they might initially go there and they might initially get some ideas, but I mean, oftentimes they'll come back and say, well, let's go to a real flooring store.
Yeah.
I was at a Home Depot once looking for a part for one of our cutting machines, and they came back and said something to me that was really kind of just floored me. They said, well, you need to go to a real hardware store. I go, really? And then I thought, well, it's probably the same thing with flooring. You need to go to a real flooring store.
That's a great line for your advertising. Mm-hmm. So the real key then is to get the information that you just have told me on your website so people can see it quickly and get at it quickly.
Right.
Because that's really the differentiating factor. It's just how do you communicate that quickly and effectively before they click off? That would seem to be the difficult part. The number of customers that walk through your front doors, and again, you've got a number of stores, a lot of retailers tell me that that number has diminished. They have a good close rate with the people that come in, but the number of people that come in is fewer than it maybe was several years ago. Is that the case here?
I don't see that at all. No. I think with some of the smaller retailers, that might be the case. They want to go to somebody who's been around a while, they can trust. And, I mean, even Lowe's and Home Depot, they've been around a while, so obviously they're still going to shop there. But, I mean, you go to a guy that has a little store and a little strip center, chance of him surviving in this market slim to none.
You've seen a lot of your competitors then rotate out of business?
A lot of our minor competitors, yes.
I see. What advertising do? You mentioned your website, and you spend a lot of time with that, and you have people doing social media. Talk about the other advertising.
We do radio. We have a show that's geared towards a certain demographic. It's a lawn and garden show, and he's also a tremendous pitch man. We do a lot of advertising with him. People trust him. We do TV advertising. Jeff Weber is one of the sons of Mark Weber, the owner of the company. And his wife's a very delightful young lady and carries herself well, and she does a lot of our television spots.
I saw her on your website.
Yeah, Maggie does a really good job. And then we also do mailers. We find those are very, very successful. Even in this day and age of internet and everything else, the mailers seem to work.
Well, whatever works, but you really cover the waterfront in terms of the advertising that you do.
I think so. You always want to be able to do more.
Well, if you're still getting an increase or even the same number of people walking through the front door, obviously whatever you're doing seems to be working, I would say. Referrals. That's a magic word, it seems like, anymore in terms of internet. They tell me millennials respond more to what they read in a referral than they would on what they would read on, say, a retailer's website. Mm-hmm. Is that something you're concentrating on?
Well, we concentrate on it by the quality of work we do. Then you get posted on Angie's List and things like that. I mean, Angie's List is not free for a retailer to be promoted up front, to be one of the top ones they go to. But we've been around long enough, we don't feel like we need to be just on Angie's List. We get people that are Angie's List members. They talk about us. They say how nice a job we did, so on and so forth. That helps.
But do you solicit those? Do you ask people if they're happy with their installation to write a referral?
That's probably something we could do, and I don't think we really do. We go out of our way to make sure that when we have a customer, we thank them, and we do get referrals, and a big bulk of our business is referrals. Honestly, for us to go out and ask for a referral, I know we've tossed it around, and it's probably something we need to do.
I gotcha. Talk about your commercial side, the commercial side of your business.
The builder, we have the builder side, which you might call commercial, and we also have a commercial department also, where we do a lot of projects and things like that. But our builder side, we used to have the designers and the account managers that ran the jobs at each of our 4 locations. And we're sitting right now in our newer builder showroom. We decided to bring them all together, so if a customer comes in, they don't have an appointment, somebody can help them. Because before it used to be if somebody came in and they were busy, it had to be the retail salesperson that would help them, and they may not know their needs and what their allowances were.
So it's worked out better this way.
This worked out great, yes.
It seems like you're always trying things.
We're always changing.
Do a better job.
Yeah.
So that's worked out. That's worked out well. And your builder business now. Well, I guess I'm asking you, how is the housing market in Kansas City, in the Kansas City market?
Housing market's good. Again, it's being more dominated by larger builders, but because in Kansas City was a little different market before. We used to have probably hundreds of builders, where I've been in some markets where 3 or 4 or 5 builders might dominate the whole city. It's not to where we have 3 or 4 or 5 that dominate it now, but it's gotten closer to that point. And our business on builder and retail is up.
I gotcha. You had mentioned granite. You handle granite. Do you handle a number of, say, non-floor covering products?
Mostly right now it's just granite. We've tried a few other things, some with some success, some without. We want to concentrate on the things that obviously are going to make us money. So if we've tried something and we discover we couldn't make money, we may have decided to move on and try something else. And we're always going to try something else.
But trying really non-floor covering items hasn't been something that sounds like it was really something you want to pursue.
No, I wouldn't say that. Mark Weber, the owner of our company, would like to pursue that. It's just a matter of you've got to get your ducks in a row. So you got to take care of this first, and then you start looking for the other avenues. I mean, it's not just growing your business by having various avenues of business, but it's also growing the business in each sector.
It seems like if you watch HGTV, you're going to hear, oh, but we don't have granite countertops. It seems like that's just the mantra that everybody says anymore. That has to be a popular product,
Right.
no matter where you are.
Right.
And you find that. People come in and ask you think that's because of what they see on TV?
Oh, I'm sure. Those shows help a lot. We have the HGTV line from Shaw, and we have it here, quite frankly, as much because it's a name that's recognized as the products that they carry.
And people ask for that, do they?
If they don't ask for it, at least when they come in, they're very familiar with it.
I got you.
And we saw a lot of it.
I got you. Talk about your sales force. How do you develop a sales force? Yeah, I mean, you seem like you're a guy that wants to make sure everything is running a certain way. And customers are informed about certain things about your operation. How do you make sure that that happens?
Through lead sheets, we have the salespeople fill out from the time they basically make contact with a customer and set up a measure. They are on their lead sheets. If they're not on their lead sheets, they're going to be hearing from me because they should have them open on their desk every morning when they come in. And the lead sheet's on a Excel common drive where I can tell if they're in there, because if they're not in there, it's not locked. If they're in there, it's read only. So I can do that, then I can also follow up and see what they've done with the leads.
Okay. Do you have regular sales meetings with them? In terms of technique, I'm thinking about somebody comes in, how do you greet them? How do you answer their questions? Stuff like that.
Yeah, we talk about that. And again, we had the 4 locations spread across the city. We used to do a lot of like Monday night meetings where everybody would come in from all the 4 stores. But if you're doing the amount of business you need to do, you've got to spend what time you have processing those orders. So I travel around. I'm in charge of really the 4 stores as far as retail, including this one as the general sales manager on retail. But we'll go over things. The latest thing has been financing. Some of the bigger entities might be talking about 24-month, 36-month financing. That's costly to a retailer to be able to push that all the time. But 12-month financing isn't. A lot of times that's what people need. They don't need 36-month or 24-month. So my latest effort has been to get my salespeople to talk about that early in the presentation so the customer's aware that we have it.
And the fact that you do that, do you think increases the average ticket?
It does. Well, it can, and that's what we've been talking about. We just had a conversation. Today's what is today? Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever. We just had a Monday meeting here, and that was our discussion. How it's going to allow you to, get maybe a higher dollar product or sell some additional product.